wow, like you're taking this so well, like you're so positive, blah blah. I'm like, that's the only choice. It's the only choice with a shit hand.
I'm
Done. I'm done.
done.
It's like
I'm done feeling sorry for myself. Yeah.
I remember like being kind of disgusted with myself for using beauty filters
I'm the
early.
same way. I'm the exact
Yeah,
same way.
you're not owed anything, so like
Hmm.
everything you want, you gotta go get.
I get so many comments that are like, oh, like, how can you, like, be so, like, happy when your skin looks like that? Do you want me to, like, sit in a corner and cry about it for, like, the next 5 years until it maybe goes away? Like, it's time to get loud. Welcome back to Loud Talk with Lavi, a podcast where we break down the walls of beauty standards one flaw at a time. And today I have such a special guest, Taylor Efford. Thank you so much for joining me today, Taylor.
No problem. I'm happy to be here. Excited to be here.
Very good. So how have you been? I feel like one, I haven't seen you in like months, or like we haven't
I
really
know.
chatted
Yeah.
either.
Yeah, true. I guess the last time it was when you were here in Toronto for the like Indeed Labs thing or whatever.
Yes, and then I came to your improv show, which still to this day was like one of the best nights of my life. So like that was so
I'm
much fun.
glad. Honored
Actually,
that you
like
liked it.
since then, me and my boyfriend have went to a couple comedy shows, and every time we go, like I just think about that night because like some comedy shows like they're really good, and then other ones you're sitting there like, oh
Yes.
gosh, what did we pay for?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It
No,
can really go either way.
that's really great. And you're getting married soon. Well, I don't know how soon, but like you're engaged now.
Yes.
That's a big update since the last time we talked.
Yes. Yeah. It should be like in a year. Like we're hoping 2024. So we'll
Right.
see.
And let's talk about that for a second because you literally, I think, created like a new term, rat bride.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I think I am like the term creator. Like I even Googled it because I'm like, I don't want to steal someone else's thunder if someone else like came up with this. But
Right.
like the only other thing is like a Zootopia character and like a Nutcracker potential character.
Yeah.
But yeah, essentially it's just like a human where like the wedding process just doesn't suit them and you just constantly have rat reactions instead of
Hmm.
normal like bridal instincts. It's like, no, I hate it. I'm hating everything. So, yeah,
And
I'm a rat.
there you go. I love how you just like embraced it and like now
Yeah.
like I think so many people are commenting on your videos too, like saying how much they relate to you on this. Because
Yeah,
I
that's
do
the
think
thing.
the whole, like, I mean, not that I've, gotten married yet or like have been through that process, but I do think it is really romanticized, like the whole process.
Yeah.
And like for me, like I haven't even been through it yet. And anytime I think of like wedding stuff, it just stresses me out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's completely romanticized and the industry is effed up. I don't know if you swear on this podcast, but it's messed up.
You can swear
And
all you want.
it's like this pressure for what? Like my rat zone, like when I get in the rat zone of just like the rat brain, I'm like, for what? Like we're spending this much money for what?
For what?
To say I love
That's how
you?
I feel too. Like it's like it doesn't scare me to get married of like the actual like
No.
marriage.
Yes.
But the whole process, like I have some friends, getting married soon. It's like the amount of events for
Oh,
like it's crazy, and it's like this is not even for me, so I couldn't even imagine like how much stress it would cause if I'm like planning all of this for myself.
yeah, it's pretty crazy. And it's like, I'm like, I want to do it. Like, my rational brain exists too, where I'm like, you only do this once. Like, it's very special. I can't wait to marry Zach. Like, all the nice things. But then the
Right.
rat just steps in and is like, like, go to City Hall. Like, this is stupid. Like, it's just,
So what are you guys doing like in terms of events, and what are you not doing?
so, well, it's also tough to navigate with weddings, like, people's expectations, like, in families and stuff. So, like,
Right.
there is that. If I had it my way, it'd be like a little different, but we are going to do like I think the proper 100-person wedding, which is
Okay.
not what I wanted, but like I'll do it. Like if that's Zach's dream, like you also don't want to crush your partner's dream. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like
There are
this is
two
their dream wedding.
people.
There's two people, but we just did our own. Like I took my own engagement photos, so that was kind of
Hmm.
like a rat hack that I had because I'm like I'm gonna hate it if I go with like a photographer and we're in public and she's got a freaking camera and I'm wearing some. I'm like, I can't. So we just shot our engagement photos on iPhone, which was
I love
fun.
that.
Yeah, it was like really fun. So like that was a good like rat hack. I'm not doing a stag and doe. I can't. I don't want bridal showers. I don't need them. I'm sure there will be some because then people want to do it for you. Like that's the other thing. Like it like breaks people's hearts when they're like, I can't throw you a bridal shower. Like, like moms and
Yeah.
aunts, they dream of doing that. So it's so tough. Looking forward to the Bachelorette. I think that'll be
Okay.
fun. Yeah. That one's not so bad. But I also told my girls, I'm like, I don't really need to be celebrated the entire time. Just like one dinner on like a girls trip would be like fine for me.
Yeah.
So I don't
No,
know.
that's
It's just
fair.
like crazy. It's a crazy journey. Yeah.
Oh, I bet. And like, are there anything that you guys have discussed that you're maybe doing like at your actual wedding that maybe isn't as like traditional or like what people would expect?
Maybe like I don't know if we have anything yet, but I you like speak full circle. Like I love comedy, so like I kind of lean more towards like just like it being fun rather than it being like an intense romantic thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I would love to do just like some more non-traditional, just like fun things at the wedding. Like I don't know if I really want like a serious first dance. Like I'd
Mm-hmm.
kind of rather like do a really cheesy routine and make fun of it and just like have fun. Like
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, we'll see. We're definitely gonna do the all the pictures before the wedding, which a lot
Okay.
of people are doing now, like the first look, and then you just like get all your shit done, and then like then you can just go enjoy. I like that
Right.
idea. So yeah, so far I haven't come up with anything too good, but again, I think it's because like as a rat, like I also don't want like a lot of attention. I don't need any like show stopping moments. I just want to get through the thing.
Right, right, right.
But
No,
we'll
that
see.
that does sound like a lot. And like I don't even know because like I feel like so many girls like they like grow up thinking of exactly like the type of wedding they want and stuff. Like I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever thought about that like a day in my life until people have asked me about it and then I'm like I
Yeah.
have no idea. Like I know I want like a bigger wedding just because that's what I grew up with. Like
Yeah.
culturally like they were all big, but like other than that like I have zero clue. So I'm like I don't know.
And then you add in like it's all fun and games to think about it, but then when you add in like the checkbook and it's your bank account doing the like that's gonna pull up to the table for these dreams you have, it's like, oh, never mind.
Yeah,
Why
like
the
we're
F
we're
would I
good.
spend my money on that? Like
Actually,
what?
we're good.
You know what? Flowers? Who needs those? Like
No,
it's like
nothing.
because that's like the one sad like I love flowers. Those suckers are so expensive. Like it's not happening. It ain't happening. Like I would love beautiful flowers everywhere. It's not happening.
Yeah. No, some things you just gotta reel it back into reality and be like, yep.
It's yep.
Not
It's
happening.
yeah. It's really crazy like the wedding industry and all the pressure and like I know you like debunk beauty standards here and like talk about brides. Like it's the most intense pressure I've ever felt to look perfect. Is like
Right.
that day. Like I'm already stressed about it.
Well,
It's
definitely like even growing up just watching like I don't know, like Say Yes to the Dress and all this stuff and it's like
yeah
everyone puts so much pressure on like looking good for that day in terms of like, oh, I need to lose 10 pounds by my wedding day and I need
yeah
to make sure my skin is at its clearest or my hair blah
yeah
blah or whatever it is and it's like why like yeah, it is like a very special day, but at the end of the day,
yeah
it's just one day to the start of like your whole marriage and like
exactly
also like you're marrying the person like you love and that like hopefully loves you back the same way
yeah
so it's like at the end of the day like it doesn't matter that much and
no
there's this pressure but I did want to ask you like since you are like also a content creator do you feel pressure in terms of the wedding to like provide content to like your
yes
viewers?
yes it's like a weird that's what I'm like trying to explain to my family because I think that's like a big part of like the rat is like I'm not really going down this process the way I would have if I wasn't a content creator. I would have let the rat like fully win if I wasn't a content creator. Like I would have been like I don't want a thing and nothing needs to be perfect
Mm-hmm.
and I like all this stuff but you do feel like these weird pressures which you can like rationalize them in your head and be like that's stupid like you don't need to think of it as anything else and everyone will tell you like it's your day like as long as you have fun but at the same time like a regular person feels insane pressure
Pressure.
to throw the perfect party so then when you add the fact that like a lot of eyes are going to be on it and not all of them love you like some of them are like might hate on it is
Watching
like
in
this weird
spite, yeah.
yeah it's like this weird extra pressure or if you don't do something like people would imagine like sometimes I get comments from followers that are like I can't wait to see what you do with this and I'm like I wasn't even going to do that. Do I need to do
Oh,
that? Should I oh shoot like should I do
things
that
you
and like
don't
it's
even
all
think about.
yeah it's all stupid and superficial but it does weigh on you. Like, I think, I don't know, like anything does. Because as I said, like a person with a regular job, you know, going into this is still
Already
experiencing like
stressed. Yeah.
massive amount of pressure. So then, yeah, when you just kind of factor in that, like, obviously you're going to post about it, you know, like it's a great piece of content, you know, and it's
Mm-hmm.
fun to share and all this stuff. And I don't know, just trying to remind myself that like my sister said the best thing to me when I was like stressing out about my wedding dress, like, because I picked a dress and like then I cried for like 3 days after picking it. Like I love it, but I freaked
Oh,
out because I was like,
Taylor.
I was like, everyone's gonna call it chuggy online. Like everyone's gonna be like, it's chuggy, like you know, because it's
Oh
like
my God.
because they all kind of are, like you know what I mean, like
Yeah,
unless
yeah,
you can afford like a you know whatever stunning supermodel moment. I can't, you know. But she said like it's not the dress that makes the wedding, it's the love that makes the wedding. Like that's what makes
yes.
people excited about things is when they can see like an authentic love and an authentic excitement. That's when things
Mm-hmm.
are like great to watch. So you just have to hold on to stuff like that.
Absolutely. No, I agree with that. And that's the thing, like, as you said, like someone with a regular job is already stressed and everything about the wedding process, but now you just have a whole another layer and hundreds of thousands of eyes waiting to judge you on your every move.
Yeah.
With that being said though, like are you guys thinking of like, like getting the wedding like recorded? Like are you gonna like have your phone on you? Like I don't seem like you don't seem like the type of person that like would like kind of have your phone on you like during it, but like how are you gonna kind of take like the content side of things during that?
Yeah, it's funny. Like I've thought about it because like in one way I think it would relax me to work. Like
Okay.
I think it would like really help me to just like think it's fun and do my little skits, make my
Just
little
another
videos.
day, yeah.
Yeah, because that's like what grounds me sometimes. Like I really enjoy like something I think we have both done with like things that have made us insecure is like put them out there.
Yes.
Right? Like I'm going to be brave about this. I'm going to use this. I'm going to be loud, you know, like exactly what your podcast is. And so it's like it's kind of like I'm like, oh, it could be helpful to just really like have fun with it,
Mm-hmm.
vlog it. But at the same time, then I don't want to hear the comments of like, ew, like she's not taking in the moment authentically. Like, but like
Right.
you can't freaking win. Like you just can't,
No.
you know? So I don't know. Like, and then I thought maybe to ask like a friend to just film content throughout the
Mm-hmm.
day, you know, something like that. But then I really like privacy, so like adding someone else to the room for me is like, like I don't want anyone else watching
Right.
me. Like I really like doing things on my own, not being looked at like by other I don't know. So that is an interesting question. We'll see what I end up with. Part of me is like just enjoy it for yourself, and then the other
Mm-hmm.
part of me is like it's just another day. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
it's fun. It's really fun for me to make content. Like I really like being a content creator, you know?
Right. Well, speaking of content creator, I don't think I actually know, like, how did you get into content creating?
Yeah, well, it's through like wanting to be like an actor and a
Mm-hmm.
comedian. I was like in improv and like starting to do like the odd show, and then the pandemic hit and I was like, oh, like this sucks. Like I was just starting to, you know, get on stage. I missed that.
Right.
So I started doing skits on I first posted a really stupid skit on Instagram,
Okay.
and it got like a really bad reception on Instagram, and at the time I only had like 2,000 followers. So like already like a pool of 2,000 was like, we don't like this, like we're not like, because I was being a freak, like I was being weird, like I was just being like dumb comedy, like whatever.
Yeah.
And then someone, I think it might have been not a hate comment, but like you could interpret it either way. Someone said like you should go on TikTok, they like that kind of video there. And you know, because it was just very clear like this isn't what Instagram wants, like
Right.
stop doing that here, you know.
I mean, they're not wrong. Like, Instagram
Yeah,
is so much more like polished and perfect.
aesthetic.
Whereas TikTok, like, you
Yeah,
could wake up straight out of bed, like, say what you need to
yes,
say, and people will be like, yep, this is what we
yep.
need.
Exactly. So then I started posting like my stupid like skits on TikTok, and then they started like blowing up. And yeah, I never really thought of being a content creator. I kind of just wanted to like test my comedy like on an audience over the pandemic because I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't do that anymore. I couldn't grow anymore in the way that I wanted to. And I was like, okay,
Right.
like I get maybe like some feedback this way. And then it just really obviously took off and snowballed. And I was like, oh, sick. Okay, cool. You know,
Wow. So how long have you been on TikTok then?
since the end of 2019.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I
And
put
then,
like that's when the one that's when like I had posted like an Instagram video and someone was like, you should get over there. So I posted like one video in 2019. And then
mhm.
when the pandemic started, I was like, maybe I'll start throwing
Keep
stuff
going.
back on that
Yeah.
app I tried.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. And like, so growing up, because I know like there's so many content creators, like me being one of them, whereas like growing up, like we always like made content. Like I would
Right.
make videos with my brother at like the age of like, I don't know, like 6 years old and stuff. Like I was always making videos and stuff. Like, did you ever kind of try content creating, or were you one of those people who like tried posting YouTube videos like when you were younger? Like,
I never did any of that, but I think I did like kind of like an adjacent, like with creativity. Like I was always like that kid, like I was making like rock art outside and my parents would like take a picture of it. And like I was
right.
always making things. Like I've always loved just making things. I would do
Mm-hmm.
puppet shows with my beanie babies, like, and I'd invite my parents and my family in my room to watch my puppet shows. And I've always been like
Mm-hmm.
putting on a spectacle. Like I've always been like, if you look at pictures of me as a child, it's like, oh, that kid is giving theater kid, like ever since like, a very young age.
Uh-huh.
So there was that. And then I was very obsessed with America's Next Top Model.
Okay.
So my friends and I in high school would take like all kinds of like modelly photos, but
Yeah.
no, I never posted them anywhere. I never really thought of the content creation space until I really went into acting, and content creation became like a bit of a cool thing where I was like, wow, like normally actors and comedians in the past, they didn't really have any control on their career. Like they had to be seen by the right person, by
Mm-hmm.
them coming to their show. Like it's really hard, or
Yes.
getting in the right audition room. You physically had to
Yeah, that
make that connection.
exposure. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when social media started coming up and I was graduating my master's in acting, I was like, I should really start trying to just like put my face out there,
Mm-hmm.
because like seems like that's like a cool way to like get in one of those rooms. Like now there's like this internet room you could maybe get on.
Right.
So that's kind of where it like came from, that I started a bit of an Instagram. I had not heard of TikTok until I got that comment, and then I was like
Interesting.
thankful to that person forever because they were right.
Right.
Like,
Interesting. And then, so how did you kind of transition? Obviously, you still post your skits and like you still do the whole comedy thing, which I think is awesome. But how did you kind of transition kind of more into the beauty space as well?
yeah, so like, well, some of the first skits was I don't know why, like I'm sure Sephora will never work with me, but it was making fun of Sephora, and like the experience of someone with acne going in a Sephora.
Right.
So like I think they were like quite relatable, and like at the time I didn't really realize that it could become anything, so I wasn't filtered in terms of like, oh, I could work with these people potentially.
You just said
Nope.
what you wanted to say. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then it's like yeah, like
I haven't seen
that's how
that
it started.
skit, but that experience, I think anyone with acne can relate because the way I like am treated when I walk into Sephora when I'm like makeup free versus when I have a full glam
Yes.
on,
Yes.
completely different. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
insane.
And sometimes you have a great experience in Sephora. Like, trust me, I'm
Yeah.
addicted to Sephora. I love her.
Take all my money.
Yeah,
Like,
like literally, like it does.
mhm.
But sometimes, like, especially before I had like the confidence with the acne, it really like affected me. And so it,
Absolutely.
yeah, or like you'd go in, like I just, one skit was like I was going in for like a foundation, and instead I
Yeah.
was like brought to the acne cream. It's like
Yes.
I did not
I did
even
not ask
bring
for
up my
this.
acne. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's always so funny because even like when I go now recently and I'm not wearing makeup and like, you get that unsolicited advice of like, you should try this cleanser or whatever. And I like look at the cleanser they're pointing out to me or whatever cream it is or
Yeah.
whatever. And it's like, oh, I just did an ad for that product like
Yeah.
2 months ago. But like, I'm not going to tell them that. But like
No,
sometimes
exactly.
I really want to be like, yeah, I work with that brand actually. Like
Yes.
you
Yeah,
don't need
exactly.
to
Like,
like
yeah,
give it
flex
to
on
me.
them. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
con.
Actually I just got
Exactly.
PR from them like a week ago,
Yeah.
but thanks for the rec.
But okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Also,
that's
sorry for the
funny.
sirens. I live in Toronto and it's an unfortunate just regularity. So I'm sorry if
Regularity.
people can hear the
Yeah.
sirens.
No, you're all good. You're all good. So yeah, like is it kind of crazy looking back, like how you just kind of randomly started posting these skits and now like you're a content creator, but also like I would say you're known very well in the beauty space as well, which wasn't really your intention.
Yeah, it really wasn't. Like, it was just, but I've just always, like, I started just getting like this passion for like fighting for like acne. And like when I first started on TikTok, that was not the case. Like I used the beauty filter. I was so insecure, like, it was bad. And then I like, the more I was on social media, the more I was like, wow, like screw this. Like, why can't acne be
Yeah.
celebrated? Why can't it be beautiful? So I think that's what really like pushed me into the beauty space, and then sharing what I knew about acne for people, because I had like really bad experiences where even like estheticians had led me wrong in the past, or like being really careful who you go to. Like
Right.
you need a really good esthetician. Don't just attack your acne. That's a lesson that was hard to learn. Like you need to nourish her. Like
Mm-hmm.
so it just, and then slowly like you know how it goes. Like you start getting the comments like, oh, what's the makeup routine? Oh, what's your hair routine? Oh, like what's the skincare? Oh, like what is tranexamic acid, or like what is retinol? And so then you
It just
answer those
builds, yeah.
questions, and it just like put me right into that niche. And I'll be honest, it's not the niche I want to be in,
Okay.
but it's the one I got.
Yeah.
And I'm trying right now to move out of it, not because I hate it, because I obviously love it. Like I'm beauty obsessed. Like
Yes.
it's great, but at the end of the day, I'd really like to be doing comedy. And the era of like makeup and skincare skits is gone,
Mm,
so then I'm like, oh shoot, I can't really do my, when I could do comedy at the same time, it was great. That was like fun for me.
right.
um but now I'm like trying to move into just like either like vlogs, or more of like I just want to entertain people is what I
Right.
like to do. So it's interesting navigating now. Like I'm sure like ever since you started posting, like the landscape shifts and you got to keep
Oh,
moving with it.
yeah, exactly. And like some videos are doing good. You're like, perfect, I found my thing. Let me keep posting
Yeah.
these. And then they do so shit and you're like, well, that lasted a week.
Yeah, like cool, I feel great,
And
like
like
yeah.
sometimes the internet really picks your niche for you and you have no control over it, like you said.
100%.
So like now sometimes like when I'll post like outside of like skincare, and even sometimes like even when I just post makeup videos, people are like, okay, like we don't really care about the makeup, like talk about your skin. And it's like, well, I've talked
Yes.
about it already, like I'm
Yeah.
not gonna make every video about like what I've been doing, right? Because it's like you
What's
just go
so
watch the
Yeah, like
video.
what's so interesting is like with social media, this whole niche thing is kind of like ruining humans. And then they're like, because if they think that it's almost like TV, it's like I'm turning on this channel because this is the nature channel and I want to see
Yes,
nature or whatever it is. So
that's
they're
a
like,
great
okay,
way to put it.
Lavinia does acne and she makes me feel good about my acne. That's what I want to hear from her.
Yeah.
When they're like trying to turn into your channel and you're not doing that, they're like, but that's what you do. Like that's why I come
That's
here.
why I'm following you.
Yes, and I
Yeah.
so get that because I'm a consumer of social media too. You follow who you like for all these reasons, but then
No, it makes
but
sense. It's
when
just,
you're trapped in a niche,
yeah,
you're like, but I'm a dynamic human. Like I
yeah.
want to talk about other
I
things.
have other things to share. But then on the
Yeah.
other hand, I get comments so much that are like, all she talks about is her acne. She like this is the only reason she has a career, blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, so I post other stuff, and then you're like, no, I don't care about this
Yes.
stuff. Go back, and then it's like, oh, you talk too much about this. So you never win, but you know what? It's a fun and crazy world. So like, how have you kind of been trying to kind of escape the beauty niche?
I've just been trying to like shift things into more like a lifestyle, because I
Okay.
always will love beauty. I will always love makeup and I'll always want to talk about skincare,
Yeah,
but I would just
sprinkle it
like to,
in.
yeah, I'd like a more of a balance and just be able to like share more about like my acting or like my comedy nights
Hmm.
and like the comedy that I am doing like outside of things. And yeah, again, I don't know if like posting skits online is really the thing at the moment. It really was a thing during 2020, right? Because like we were all stuck in our homes. We'd all watched all the TV we could possibly watch. It was a great time for comedy and skits.
Hmm.
But now it seems to be moving into like vlogs, like people like aspirational stuff. Like I don't know. I'm just trying to figure it out. But at the end of the day, yeah, I'd love to. I just like making people laugh. So like the rat ride thing, I think is really fun because I'd like to help people laugh at the wedding process. Like all these. That's kind of more of interest to me. Is just like
Yeah.
adding laughter to like things that don't have laughter, which is what I kind of did with skincare and makeup. But like that's ran its course. So now I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, how do I inject laughter into something else? Or I don't know. And it's tough. I don't know what to do with it. I'm in a bit of a flop. Like I'm like a bit of a flopper at the moment as I try to like figure it all out.
Well, I know we were texting about it, and that's kind of how I feel
Yeah.
too, because I was like, what am I doing? Like you get in those moments where you kind of sit back and you're like, is my career over?
Yeah, yeah.
And
I'm
it's
I'm
it's
really in one of those
terrifying.
right now.
But
Yeah.
are you like you do content basically full time outside of like acting, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. At the
So
moment.
does it scare you like as you're kind of escaping like the beauty niche? Because we all know like in beauty there's so much like ads and
Yes.
money and like opportunities and stuff. Does it scare you like kind of leaving that niche? Like job wise and like I guess like money
Yeah,
security wise, because like that is a part of it as well for sure.
for sure. And it is scary. And I think a lot of people just wouldn't do it. But at the end of the day, I'm not online to do that. Like I'm not
Right.
online to make money through content creation. I'm trying to use content creation to get to acting and
Where you
comedy.
want to be. Yeah.
So I just have to honor that and try to just keep chasing that, because I think if I, you know how it is, like if you always choose money, like you're selling like
Yes.
kind of like the dream in a way. But at the same
Yes.
time, like life is really hard right now, you need money, it's obviously stressful. I'm
Yes.
freaking out daily about it because like the views go down, less brands are reaching out, like it's hard, it's scary, but at the
Yeah.
end of the day I just have to tell myself like, you didn't get into this to be a beauty content creator, you
Mm-hmm.
got into this to try to get on a Netflix sitcom.
Yeah.
So you got to just keep chasing that.
Yeah. And all these other opportunities are just like a bonus thing that you got to experience. So no, I
Exactly.
definitely agree with that. And I have to like come back to that mindset sometimes too. And, since I'll be coming out with like a skincare line soon, I
Yeah.
had to sit down and think it's like, well, how will that affect how many like sponsorships I take on, right? Because like I'd probably want to put more focus into like my
Yeah.
line, right? So like,
Yeah.
yeah, that'll probably mean like less sponsorships right off the bat. But like if I have this goal, like I have to follow through with that and not worry about like the effects like in the short run. So
Exactly. And like if you want to get analytical about it, like audiences are not stupid. Like they know what's authentic. You know, they catch on.
absolutely.
They can read you like a book. So at the end of the day, it doesn't pay off. It
No.
might pay off in the short term, but if you're trying to do this long term, you got to just stay true, follow like
Yes.
your inner compass. You've got it right. You got here. At
Yeah.
the end of the day, all of this is extra. All of this is a miracle. That's how I look at it. Like it's
Oh,
all a freaking bonus. You know,
absolutely.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Like I'm in school right now still like studying engineering and stuff like, like the fact that I can do content creation and like basically, make a like steady income off of it
yeah,
like is a blessing, but I mean we've had conversations like in private talking about, like creators who enter the space because they do see all the great opportunities that can come
yeah,
and they kind of get wrapped up in that, and then when
yeah.
it starts kind of fading away, because let's face it, like you can't be viral forever,
No,
people get scared and they take every single sponsorship that they can pick up, and it does
yeah,
start to feel inauthentic. So if there's any creators listening in, like, as you said, like listen to that inner compass, and it's scary, but like the
yeah,
next opportunity will come and the next door will open for you on the path that you're supposed to be on. So I do want
yeah.
to kind of switch gears a little bit here, and talk to you. Obviously, like you came online, talked a bit about your acne. Like, was it more so because people were like pointing it out and you decided to talk about it, or was it just something you want to talk about because it was a part of your life at the time?
Yeah, it was more it was a part of my life. I just kind of reached a breaking point. Like
Okay.
I remember like being kind of disgusted with myself for using beauty filters to hide. Like I had
Right.
this huge just like, I was very unhappy. I was very insecure. I was crying a lot because of my acne. I
Right.
was eating weird because of my acne. Like I was letting acne just like fully ruin my life. And I had that, like, when you hit rock bottom, there's only like
Can only
one
go
place
up.
to go,
Yes.
and that's up. And so it was just this kind of like absolute rock bottom where I got so mad at beauty standards, so incredibly mad that the only other option is to go the full other way and be like, F you, like I'm not obeying this anymore. I'm so done. But it's a constant battle because we're all
Yes.
faced with like perfection every day, and
Yes.
there's still days where it gets to me. Like I said, like with my wedding, I'm already like nervous about the acne. Like it's always going to get to you, but I was like, I don't want to be a part of the hiding anymore. Like I want to be
Mm-hmm.
a part of normalization and everything that comes with normalization. Like I don't want to, I'm very transparent about it. Like I want to talk about when I lean back into wanting to fit into the beauty standard. I talk about when I'm like, no, this is weird. Like, or I had this weird moment today where I wanted lip balm. I was like, whoa, like where did that come from? Like, am
Yes.
I like how is that infiltrating my brain? Like, this is weird. Because I do get freaked out about it sometimes when I think of others, and I think of what really like got me to talk about my acne was thinking of others in my situation. And I was like, I don't want anyone to feel like this. Like, I genuinely, I can't believe we're made to feel like this. It's messed up that the narrative is this. I'm so tired of it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to fight against it. So it was just kind of like a bit of a freak out.
Right.
Yeah.
No, and it is a constant battle because I always get comments asking like, "How are you so confident in your skin? Like, how are you able to show your skin?" And it's like there's days where I absolutely don't want to do it, right? But it's like
Yeah.
you gotta power through it, and it's all a journey. And I think social media keeps me accountable for that because it's
Hmm.
like if I don't want to show up for myself one day, I'll at least show up for other people because, like you said,
Yeah.
I don't want other people feeling this way. And then by like forcing myself to like show my skin that day where I feel like shitty about it, it's like once I do it, I'm like, oh, that wasn't as scary as I thought. So,
Yes.
and it's like
Yes.
just a constant reassurance. And obviously, there's some days where, like, yeah, I'm like, fuck beauty standards, like, never doing
Yeah.
that. But, like, you mentioned lip filler right there. Like, I got so many comments recently that, like, girl, you need lip filler. Like,
Right. I get that a lot.
yeah. And, like, growing up, I was always told that I look like a young version of Kylie Jenner. So then as she started, like, getting filler and stuff, like, that definitely messed with me as, like, a kid and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And just the other day, like I was getting like this laser treatment. They were just telling me about what other treatments they were like doing and stuff. And I've been looking to get like underarm Botox for a while. And then I was like thinking, I'm like, do I need anything in my face? And then I'm like, whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa. Like I was like, step out of it. Like, what rabbit hole are we going down right now? You know, because
Yes.
I'm like, we're not doing that, you know? So,
Yeah.
and like nothing wrong with like if you want to change how you look and stuff. It's just
No.
like you don't need to do it. And I think that's the constant fight we all fight because it's
Yes.
like, you know, society and especially social media amplifies it so much more that we need to look a certain way. And so many things are so out of our control, which like, you know, we all try to fit into this mold of like
Yeah.
whether it's skin or like a body type or whatever, but it's like no matter what you do, like you're never gonna look exactly like somebody else, you know. You even see like the people who go through, I don't even know like what they say, like if you've ever seen like the real life Barbie or the real life Ken who
Yeah.
like go through like 140 plastic surgeries and they look
Yeah.
nothing like the
Yep.
doll, right? So it's like you
Yeah.
can't achieve that.
No, and it's tough. Like it's like because I can see it both ways. Like part of me is like I just want to be sure. Like if I ever went and got like a lip flip, for
Yeah.
example, because my lips are like an insecurity of mine. They always have been. Like I do get the hate comments of like you need filler, like blah blah. If I ever did, like I wouldn't be mad at myself. I just want to make sure that when I do it, I'm sure, and that the
Yes.
path I took to get there was a path of like understanding and a want from within, not a want from what I'm like from all the
From what
noise.
you're seeing, the noise,
Yeah,
yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah, and like just understand that like okay, once I get this, like it will actually bring me like some joy rather than like you
yeah,
get it, you look in the mirror and you're like fuck, I still hate how I
exactly.
look, you know.
If you
Like
don't do the inner work to get there, I think
yeah.
it's not going to feel as good, and you might end up getting more than you maybe would have if you had just done the inner work. And and if you end up with that decision, because part of my brain's like, hey, you know what, we're on a floating rock, it really doesn't effing matter. You want to do what you want, like,
Yeah.
but it really, like, life barely matters, like like I have a very dark like outlook on this because of diabetes, but like like one day my freaking pancreas just shut off. Like life is stupid, like it's crazy, like it's like a video game. And it doesn't really matter the moves you make as long as you're happy.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you want to do the things to be happy, then do them.
Mm-hmm.
But I think like the best success stories with plastic surgery and getting work done are the ones where it's like this was a very deep inner wand that I thought about and
Yes.
came to the decision in a really clear journaled headspace, like
Yes.
like
More
in your
internal rather
power.
than
Yeah.
external. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
in
now
your power kind of moment.
I do want to talk because like you mentioned there, and obviously like you have made, you know, the fact that you have type 1 like very public, you talk about it all the time, you're a huge advocate of like,
Yeah.
you know, showing off your medical equipment and like not being ashamed of it, which I absolutely love. But can you walk me through of like kind of that process of like finding out that you did have type 1 and how that experience was for you and any of the hardships as well that you went through during
Yeah.
that time?
Yeah, so it was like 2020, so it was like almost 3 years ago now.
Okay.
And it was type 1 diabetes, which I didn't even know you could get like in your mid 20s. Like I did not know that. And so I just like started getting really sick, but it was obviously during the pandemic, so nobody was like going to hospitals, and all the doctor calls were like on the phone if you could, it was like
Mm-hmm.
lockdown. And I lost like 40 pounds. I was really weak
Wow.
and shaky and nauseous. I was extremely sick. Like my legs would be quaking, and then eventually I lost feeling in like my left leg. Like it was like kind of numb in my calf. I had my period every 2 weeks for 2 weeks. Like my
Wow.
body was just like it was just like I was like, oh my gosh, like something is really wrong. And I
Right.
went to the doctor once and he just thought it was my birth control. So I did not get help there.
Of
I went,
course.
I know. And then I go again and I'm like, I can't feel my leg. And he's like, well, are you very active? I was like, I do yoga. He's like, you probably pinched a nerve. So I didn't get help that time. And nobody was just asking me the right questions. So it was actually like a really tough process. Like, because if he had just like numbness in the legs, for example, is like a really huge indicator. Um, and so if he had just done a follow-up question, like, do you go pee every 30 minutes? I would have been like, yeah. And you would have been like, oh, we should check you for diabetes. Like, because basically, like, your ketones are so high, your body just flushes like all your fluids.
Oh, okay.
You're severely dehydrated. You're peeing all the time. You're super nauseous. Like, and you are dying. Like, you can last, I think, about 6 months without the function of your pancreas. Um,
Wow.
so like your body is dying. And then, so I was feeling sick. So then they caught it. Probably, I was really ill. Like I think I would have been really close to a hospitalization, but finally like the doctor gave me a blood test and then it just came back and then I was immediately rushed in for more blood tests and it was terrifying and I was completely shocked and they thought I had cancer because they
Okay.
were just like so shocked at like the blood results because like everything was just kind of messed up, but like it's all cleared up now. Like I think it was just because I had gone so long without getting the proper diagnosis, my
Mm-hmm.
body like freaking out and things were really
Yes.
weird. So it was a very dramatic time. So yeah, it was tough. It was really tough. And it just like kind of just felt like the universe had given me another kick and I just didn't understand why. And I
Mm-hmm.
really like to understand why. Like I always am like one of those like everything happens for a reason
I'm the
girlies.
same way. I'm the exact
Yeah.
same way. And I'm like, okay, but like, I get you're like trying to,
Yeah.
teach me something, but like,
Yeah.
let's get
But
to
why?
it,
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
why me again? Like stop
Mm-hmm.
picking on me because there's some other things in my life where I was like, I seem to be going through a bit more than my peers. Like, can we
Mm.
chill? Like
Get you're trying to make me the strongest human, but like,
yes, yes, literally. So it was like that was more like the challenge was just like being very angry at the universe for a bit there. But then you move on and you find a new normal, and that's really what it is. You just have to mourn. The mourning of my past self was tough. Like I really felt like I had died. Like I couldn't get
wow.
over who I was because I felt like I had died. I didn't know who I was anymore with this because for me especially I think like one of my like qualities that I would have always like identified myself with was my energy.
Okay.
And I have half the energy I used to have. It's like bringing a tear to my eye right now. Like I miss her. I really miss her. Why am I crying? Diabetes and
Oh.
stuff, but like I miss her. And so that was like the biggest hurdle is like I'm not her anymore. Like who am I now? Because I couldn't just like get up in the morning and be the
Mm-hmm.
burst of energy and blah blah blah. So that was like a big hurdle and just understanding like a new way to like write out your life and then all these scary side effects was also like a weight on me and it just you just really have to rewrite how you saw your life going and like you're just responsible for way more things now but at the end of the day you can live a really great life with type 1. It's just harder and the new normal does come but getting to that is really tough.
So what were like the hardest adjustments I would say like in your day-to-day life that you had to go through?
Basically it's just like you have to be your pancreas. Like it
Right.
does a lot of work for you and there's no cure to this disease. Like there's no pill you can take that like will regulate it for you.
Yeah.
You have to do the math, you have to do the carb counting, you have to do the dosing of the insulin. Like you have to get that right because the
Mm-hmm.
insulin will kill you. And that's what a low is. Like if you don't catch a low, like if you don't put sugar back in, like you go into a diabetic coma and you would die. Or like, really bad things would happen.
Right.
And then extreme highs, you have to manage those as well. So like you're just constantly 24/7 kind of chained to this. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's bigger adjustment and like everything I do, like I was at a wedding on Saturday and it's like you're freaking out that you got your numbers right because I don't want my medical equipment to go off during this wedding or I don't want to take away from other people like during this wedding, and just always it's just always on your mind to
Right.
just be managing it. So that's the biggest like daily adjustment. It's not like
Right.
the management of it. Well, the management is tough and you like never get it perfect, it feels like. But I was actually pretty okay with the needles and the all the crap. I was like, okay, 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 I'll shove this in my leg. Like, okay, all right.
Gotta do what you
I
gotta
did
do type thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I did okay with that. It's just more the weight of it. That was like the bigger adjustment.
Mm-hmm. And like,
Yeah.
do you feel like it's also because like you can kind of never like catch a break from it? Like it's like something you're always gonna have to do.
Yes, yeah, it's called diabetic burnout. Like we all know burnout, but so diabetic burnout, it's like you can get very exhausted by the weight and the constant management. And you genuinely just, there's no minute of the day that you get off. Like,
Yeah.
and that's just kind of like what that disease is. And it's also like it plays games with you. Like, oh my God, it can be just so horrible and you don't know why, like you don't know what you did wrong. Like, why do I feel
Mm-hmm.
horrible today? Like, or you have a low in the middle of a dog walk and you're like, I just want to be like any other girly on her hot girl walk right now, but I feel like trash.
Yeah.
And like, it's just, yeah, it can be a lot, but it's also like, all the toxic positivity things. It's strengthening, it's character building,
Right.
it's those things as well. But it is at the end of the day just like a really hard thing to have, and I don't wish it upon anyone. Just like any disease.
Right.
It just changes life, it shifts life.
Mm-hmm. And do you feel, I mean, I'm assuming you felt this way in that moment, but do you feel like you almost lost control over like your own body when you found
Yes.
out?
And I lost complete trust in my body, and I still
Okay.
have lost that trust. Like, I just don't trust her. I just feel like I'm in like a ticking time bomb. Like, it just like,
Okay.
yeah, so like that was like a real weird like relationship with my body as well, because like when you're just like healthy, you just really take it for granted.
Yes.
And when it's gone, and it's really shocking. And then you're just kind of scared as to like what else could happen, because other things have kind of gone. Like I'm high risk for another autoimmune disease at the moment, because they tend to stack. Not
Oh,
for
wow.
everyone, but
Okay.
they can. And so it just feels like this constant battle, and you don't want to like hate your body, but I often feel very like trapped in my body, which is like a tough and frustrating experience. Just again, as someone with who identifies being high energy, it's just
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, like you don't align, like you suck, like this is not what I want to be stuck in.
Right.
Which I think like is probably relatable to anyone with a disease or like disability. It's just those feelings of like, like I don't like it officially becomes a skin suit. I don't know if anyone's like,
Mm,
like sometimes that's like used as like a positive thing, like it's just like a skin suit. But it genuinely just becomes that to you. You're like, this is annoying. I'm trapped in this body that doesn't want to work like everybody else's.
right. Did you find like obviously, I mean, we've talked before about kind of that comparing yourself to other people on social media in terms of like your skin and stuff, but like did you find you were doing that same comparison like with your body and like kind of thinking like, to the universe like why me and like, other 20-year-olds don't have to go through this and like I have to deal with this now?
Yes, like, but it was funny, like, kind of, it was the first time where the comparison actually entered real world. Like, it was harder being around my friends. It was
Okay.
harder being around my siblings, my
Mm-hmm.
family. Like, that got harder, because then it was like you were just like in the room with the fact that you are existing in a tougher with a tougher hand than everyone else. And like watching like friends go out on weekends and drink, and I just can't really do that. And you can, like, I'm not trying to like say diabetics can't drink. It's just it's much more dangerous, obviously, and like it's trickier for some than others. And or like watching them like all kind of enjoy going to a restaurant and not worrying about like the math to eat that thing, or like worrying about like, okay, if I get this wrong, am I gonna if we go to the movies later, like pass out in the movie theater, or like be dramatic at the movie theater? Am I gonna be able to walk to the movie theater? Okay, I'll take this much less insulin. So it's just like more present. Less, yeah, I think I just like just real, it got real, like, which was kind of good, like, to instead of like comparing to online, because that used to
Mm-hmm.
be the and for sure, like, just like all these influencers, like when they would like complain about one zit, and you're like, like, like
It's like if you're crying, like what should I be doing at this point? Yeah.
yeah. So no, it got a little more like real worldy, but it was kind of like a blessing in that sense, because something it has given me is just this really, whether it's dark or not and come from a toxic place, but it's just this real ability to be like, nothing fucking matters.
Right.
Nothing matters, man. Like, it's crazy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
when you're faced with the ability, like, I could die in my sleep tonight, it's like, wow, nothing
Yeah.
matters.
Well, and it
So
just goes to show you like we stress and like become anxious about so many little things in our life. Like, for example, yeah, as we've talked about, like pimples on our face and stuff. And
yeah.
it's like at the end of the day, like as long as your body's like, yeah, like functioning good, you're still breathing, right? Like,
Yeah.
who cares if
Yeah.
you have acne? Who cares if like you have this? It's like we're all just here trying our best and we're all
Yes.
like dealing with the cards life has handed us. So
Yeah, and it's like that's not to diminish any of those things because I
No,
still have tough times with my acne.
uh,
There is still
of
very hard
course,
things
yeah.
in the world. So I don't mean it that way, but like yeah, sometimes and I think people with other like traumatic experiences, like yeah, you just go through this kind of like, wow, life, she's not on your side. You can work with her, but she
Mm-hmm.
like you can really do what you want with this earth because like things can change on a dime, and it is a cool perspective shift that I didn't expect to be given,
Right.
and it's been neat to have like, so it's been
Mm-hmm.
one a positive.
I do talk a lot about, like, especially on this podcast as well, like internal and external locus of control, and telling people that they do have like more control over their life than what they think they do, right? Because at the end of the day, like, you are dealt certain cards, but it depends kind of how you take that on. And obviously, like, for you, when you got diagnosed with type 1, like that wasn't really something in your control. It's like, obviously, like, your body kind of just kind of decided to do that for you, and that wasn't something you could really control. But do you think the way you kind of responded to it, you did have control over?
Yes, yeah, I think I know what you mean. Like it's like I because everyone kept complimenting me, like, oh my god, like everyone would be like, wow, like you're taking this so well, like you're so positive, blah blah. I'm like, that's the only choice. It's the only choice with a shit hand.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the shit hand wins, and
Yeah.
I refuse. I refuse. Like it's the
Yes.
only choice. Like it's the only choice to make jokes. It's the only choice to allow it to suck, but to just be realistic with it. Like, yep, it sucks. Moving on
Yeah.
because this is the freaking hand. So yeah, I know what you mean. Like it's you do get that small choice to sometimes choose like that stubbornness, almost like a stubbornnness, like
It
against it.
is.
Like same with like acne. Like, it was like the same feeling of like, you know what? I'm freaking done.
I'm
I'm done.
done.
It's like
I'm done feeling sorry for myself. Yeah, I
yeah,
totally agree with that, because I get so many comments that are like, oh, like, how can you, like, be so like happy when your skin looks like that? And it's like, well, do you want me to like sit in a corner and cry about it for like the next 5 years until it maybe goes away? Like, what am
yeah,
I supposed to do? Or like I can just live my life and
yeah,
choose to be happy with it, right? And I think that's what so many people are, like, hopefully are working to understand. And I try to like say that a lot in my messages, is that like you may not feel like you have control, and there are things that you cannot control, but that small portion that you can, really try to take a handle over it and take that control back. And as you said, like, be stubborn with it, because
yeah,
it will give you that sense of like, I actually do have a bit of control, a bit of power over the
yeah.
situation.
And like I was saying earlier, like some circumstances are so much worse than the one I'm in. So I never want to like compare or say like anyone should be a certain way because like I don't know anyone else's
Yeah.
experience. We only all know our own. But
Yes.
even in our everyday, like even on like the worst days, I would choose to go buy a bag of mini eggs. Like that was a small choice I could make. Like I could go get my favorite candy
Mm-hmm.
and I could just eat it and F my numbers if they went funny. I can still do this, and it's just that little bit of like finding the things you can go out and do to have a win
Absolutely.
today, like
Yeah.
find your wins, and some of us have to fight harder for our wins,
Absolutely.
um but you can hopefully, like not all circumstances, again, like I never mean to say that, but in a lot of these shitty hands there are silver linings of like moments of like, have you heard the term glimmers? Like instead of like triggers, it's like glimmers, so like moments
Yes.
of good. It's like find like life hacking to find those.
Right. No, absolutely. And I've talked before about like how much, and I know you've experienced this too with acne, like kind of that like lack of control, because like everything you do in life seems to affect your skin. Like, I go out on the weekend and like have an extra piece of cake or whatever, and it's like, well, tomorrow I'm going to be breaking out. So I couldn't even imagine like how much more escalated that is, like with watching your numbers and all of that. But like, as you said, like sometimes when you know how it'll affect your body, and like having that well understanding, then you're like, you know what, whatever,
Yeah,
I'm gonna enjoy
yeah,
this moment, and like I'll deal with it like tomorrow. So
yeah.
just taking that control back a little bit. And what do you think, like, what are some of the top, I don't even know if I should call them like tips or kind of realizations that helped you get to that point? Because I'm sure a lot of people are listening to this being like, okay, like this is all great advice, like take that control back, but like how do I get there?
Yeah, like again, classic me gonna give toxic advice, but like lean into the anger.
Yeah.
Anger is a powerful emotion. Like it can it can obviously be bad, but it is strong. Do you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like, and so like that's what really helped with the diabetes. I was angry. I was freaking angry. And it was with that anger that I was like, no,
Yeah.
you do not get to dictate my, like, it's where I found my power again.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's using a bit of a toxic emotion, but it's a valid emotion as long as it's not letting you like lash out at your partners or like
Right.
at the freaking Starbucks worker if they get their order wrong. Like, please don't do that.
Yeah.
But like finding that inner anger of like the fight. There's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
fight in anger, you know? So like sitting with yourself and like, why are you angry? What's made you angry? And if it's like I can't I'm not gonna be able to run a marathon anymore. Like it's gonna be impossible for me. Like I
Mm-hmm.
like maybe that was my dream. I'm never gonna be able to do that. Well, if you get angry enough, you will find stubbornness, you will find fight, and I bet you anything you'll run a marathon one
Yeah.
day. You know, it's powerful. So like
It
it's like maybe
is.
I'd like to give that as like my tip because I think sometimes we just hear too much positivity, and I am team toxic advice. Like, screw the perfect advice. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it's
Yes.
not always going to help you. You've got to use what you have. And when shit's going down, you have anger.
Yep.
So you're going to have to use her and use her and
Absolutely.
like laugh about it. Like, that I would do that. Like, I'd get so mad, and I'd be like, this kind of experience of just like laughing at the fact that I'm mad at my pancreas that's just like floating in my body now. I'm like,
Right. Yeah.
like, I'm gonna eat mini eggs today and like maybe I'll pay the price. But then you show yourself that you can do it. And then I
Yes.
learned like, oh wow, I can eat these. Yes, maybe it's gonna lead to some high numbers, but it's a choice. It's like going back to that choice, that control.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing I have, and I unlocked that with my anger.
Yeah, no, it's all about like energy allocation, honestly. Like,
Yeah,
anger, like you have that energy, like, but it's your choice whether you're gonna let that energy kind of like fizzle out and burn you, or if you're gonna invest that energy into something that
yeah.
can bring you light, right? So,
I love that. Yes, that's exactly what it is. Just allocating it to the right spot.
yes, the
Um,
right source.
and
Absolutely.
yeah, just using what you have and just choosing to be happy because frick, you just have to. You
Yeah.
just it's like with your acne. It's I love that. Like what you're gonna spend 5 potential years unhappy waiting?
And then what?
Excuse me?
I'll probably still have acne then too. Like, what about,
Or
Yeah,
your tits will sag and then you'll be sad about those. And then it's like, well, I'm never gonna be happy then. Like
exactly. I actually I just made a video. I haven't posted it yet, but you know how this age filter is like all the rage now on TikTok, right?
yeah,
And everyone's like, like, oh my
yeah,
gosh, I hate how I look, blah blah. So I made a video. I haven't posted it yet, but I I said like, okay, like you're looking at this image of yourself like much older. You're not liking what you see, right? And I was like, you're the youngest you'll ever be right now. So if you
yeah.
don't love yourself right now, when the hell are you ever gonna reach that point?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
like it's just part of life, you're gonna like your skin's gonna start sagging, you're gonna get wrinkles,
Yeah.
so like you might as well just start loving on yourself now and like let
Yeah.
those negative opinions like be in the future because like what the
Yeah.
heck.
I genuinely believe hotness is an energy. It's just
Absolutely,
I
absolutely,
genuinely it's a fact. Like
it is a fact.
you tune in and channel whatever you got going for you on the inside, it reads on the outside and it's attractive. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like that kind of like inner confidence, like it really is. It doesn't really
Yes.
matter on the outside because
No.
people are going to like you. People are going to want
Yes.
to be around you like, you know.
Exactly. I always talk
Yeah.
about how like confidence, because people ask me like, how are you just like so confident? I'm like, I wasn't like, like I didn't come out of the womb like this. It's like
No.
it's a practice, like,
Yes.
it's a choice I make every single day to show up for myself and be confident. And then now that I've been doing it for so long, but it's been a journey to get here, it just like comes a bit more naturally to me. But there's still days where I like am not confident in myself and stuff, but it
Yeah.
is a choice. And
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. Like when you are confident, it radiates onto other people. And I saw this post the other day on Instagram, and it was like when you can be so comfortable in your body that it makes other people comfortable in theirs,
Yeah. That's
and I think that's so important because I'm sure like you've definitely experienced this with what you put out on the internet, but like I'm sure what you share and stuff makes other people feel more confident and comfortable in their
yeah.
body, right? Because you come on the internet with this, radiating confidence, and you show people like, you know what, yeah, I'm still hot as fuck, even though I have like some
Yeah.
medical equipment on me. It does not matter. It's the
Yeah.
way I present myself. And I'm sure that also
Yeah.
like, you know, brings a glimmer, as you said, like in someone's
Yeah.
brain, and they're like, oh. okay, like I can do that too. If
Yeah,
you can do it, I can do it.
exactly. I just normalization is just so important. Anything can be aesthetic. Like I love an aesthetic like acne video, like like doing the skincare on acne skin. It can be aesthetic. Like
Yes,
aesthetic is not perfection, or and that's not even to say like acne isn't perfect because who's to friggin' say what's perfect? Like again, if you have a healthy body, you do have a perfect body in a lot of senses.
exactly.
But it like with my medical equipment, like I can make a vibey video and the fit can have medical equipment. Like it exists. So like that normalization, the more people like us that choose to go online and put out something you could be insecure about and force it into the category of like slay, it's like it's exciting and it just is proof that like people the people who chose what was in suck and we don't need to listen to them. Like
Yeah,
we can all choose what's in.
yeah, and it gives us again that sense of power because it's like, you know what? I'm dealing with this thing that sucks, but it's like I'm choosing to like turn it into a good positive thing of helping others. And that right there is power. It's literally
Yeah,
taking anger and fueling it into something positive, which I think is really awesome. So, kind of shifting gears here, I've talked a lot about how on some as much as acne sucks and like so painful and whatever, like
yeah,
I on lots of days I am grateful for going through it because it's taught me so much. It's taught me that like looks are superficial, it doesn't matter, like all this stuff we've been discussing. Is there anything that, as much as like type 1 has given you hardship, like is there anything you're grateful for having it?
that's a harder one for me. Like I was asked that once, like I was like interviewing for like some like during diabetic awareness month and a reporter asked me that and they're like what was the positive.
Okay.
And it's tough because it's like I wouldn't say anything about this disease is necessarily positive. um but it yeah, it can teach you like I guess that like nothing's permanent.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of the harder lessons that are beautiful lessons to learn at a young
Right.
age, which is great. Like your health is not permanent, like good things aren't permanent.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's guaranteed. You aren't owed anything by anyone. Like they're not
Wow.
exactly like positives. Do you know what I mean? But they're good lessons.
For sure.
You
And
know,
not many people get those lessons so early on.
young, exactly. And so that's what I have been grateful for. Is like I'm getting them now, and it's tough now, but I'm so much more ready for other stuff to come and I know my limits a
Mm-hmm.
little more, but at the end of the day like it's still sad to have had to like learn these things. It's sad for
Yes,
anyone to learn hard messages, but yeah, you can
absolutely.
always draw the silver linings from a hard message. But yeah, it's just been eye-opening to just kind of like how I was living life. I feel like before I was just living life like very unaware
Right.
and like as if not that I was invincible because I still had anxieties about like planes and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like I didn't think I was invincible, but it did shift into perspective like, whoa, this is real. And yeah, you're not owed anything. So like
Mm-hmm.
everything you want, you got to go get.
Wow, that point there you made, like about no one knows you anything and you have to go out into the world and get what you want. Like I don't hear that one often, especially from like people our age. So that's definitely a very eye-opening lesson. And it can be frustrating, like you mentioned there, like, I feel like during my life I had to kind of grow up really fast, like I'm 21 now and I feel like from the age of like 12, like I had to like kind of be an adult. And so many people in my close circle tell me like, Lavinia, you're so strong, like you've gone through all this, like you're so strong. And it's like some days like it's like I'm grateful that like I was able to build so much strength by this age, but
Yeah.
other days I'm like, well, I don't want to be strong, like I don't, why did I have to go through all that shit just to like,
Yeah.
so kind of exactly like you said, like I didn't, they're great lessons to learn, but like why did I have to learn them so young, so
Yeah. That's a tough pill to swallow. I don't have any advice on how to swallow that pill. I think it's a pill
yes,
that exists in all of us that had the harder hand early, because that's just
yes,
not really when most people are getting their hard hands.
yes,
So it can feel very frustrating. You can feel very mad at like the universe or whatever you believe
yes,
in.
yeah,
That's a tough experience. Um, and it's not exactly a positive one, but it does really wake you up quicker. And we
yes,
will have advantages from that. And just as people who don't go through tough things have advantages. So like
exactly.
there's pros and cons to both.
Oh,
And at the end
absolutely.
of the day, you just got to sit with that hand you're dealt. Like we were saying, like
You
you're,
choose how to take that
yeah,
hand. Yeah, no,
yeah,
absolutely. And I think, like I think we all learn like a lot of the same lessons as we go throughout life, whether, we learn some earlier on, you learn some earlier on than a lot of other people your age, they might learn them later on in life, but at the end of the day,
yeah,
like you're all probably going to learn similar lessons. And the fact that you can have this platform online and inspire others and push them is really great. Before we end off, I do want to kind of end on a lighter note.
yeah.
What are kind of some of your, let's go back to like you being an actor and stuff. Like what are some of your goals for this next year in like the acting space?
I'd really love to get like a comedic role on a show,
Okay.
even if it's like one episode, like just someone give me a chance to play like a quirky, whatever character.
Yeah.
I would really, really love that. Like, I love embarrassing myself. Lavinia knows because she came to like the comedy. I have no problem embarrassing myself. I'm like, give me the opportunity. I'll do it. Like, no problem.
Yeah.
Like anything like that. I would love to do anything like that. And yeah, just getting a chance to, I just love comedy so much. I love making people laugh. I'm like addicted to it. So just somehow, if I could just make that my every day, like that would just be so great. Which is why I'm trying to make my TikTok that. Like, I would love to make people laugh, even just like on a, it's not even like it's good. Like, I know my vlogs aren't good yet, but I'm like, I'm trying to make
Yes.
it
Oh,
entertaining. Like,
no matter if no one's watching, I'm watching them.
oh, okay. Yeah, perfect.
No, that's awesome. Well, I hope that that goal comes true because I would love to see you on a show because you make me laugh so much, even just from your TikTok. So like I'm definitely rooting for you there. And one more question here, kind of tying it back to the theme of this podcast and everything. What is one kind of rule of beauty standards or, social media or whatever that you want to see like people break down more over this next year?
I think filters, like, I think they're really bad for us. And I think they're helping no one.
No.
Like, even the person using them, like, when I used filters, they weren't helping me. So I know it as a fact. Like, when I stopped using them, I started actually being able to accept my face, which
Yes.
is like very necessary. Like, you need,
Oh,
if
yes.
you're constantly subconsciously telling yourself, like, I need to be covered, I'm not good enough, I need this, wow, like that's a really tough road
Yeah.
to be on. And then it's not good for your audience either, because the only reason this like beauty standard box is so freaking armored and like bulletproof is because we're all refusing to show that normality exists. Like, and like
Right.
everyone's like trying to be perfect. And these filters, I think, are just, I'd love to see people stop using filters. I get so sad when I see like a favorite celebrity, like, and I
I
know the beauty
know.
mode is on. I'm like, dude, you're like
Like,
one of the most beautiful people on the planet. How are the rest of us supposed to get by? Like,
yes.
you think you need the filter?
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
it's such bad messaging. So I,
It
I really
is.
look forward to the day where everyone just starts embracing like who they are,
Yes.
because like there's so much beauty in so many humans, and I think we all know that. So why are we letting the beauty standard win? That's the real
Mhm.
question.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We got to take that control back there
Yes,
and keep
yeah.
fighting that battle. And I actually did a full podcast episode. I think it was episode 5 where I think the title of it was like, this is why you should stop using filters. Like I did a whole episode because like
Good.
they are so toxic, they're
So
addicting,
bad.
and they just like yikes. Like yeah,
Oh,
there's nothing there. They provide zero person with anything positive, in my opinion.
yeah. They don't send out anything positive and they don't give anything positive. And they really are like, I understand it's a shield.
Yeah.
Like, I understand it's a shield, but it's there was nothing coming at you. Like, there was
No.
no reason to put up the shield.
Yes.
So like the more you tell yourself that you need to hide, like the worse it is, like to find the confidence journey.
Yeah.
And yes, like shitty people exist, and like trust, like we've talked about our hate comments, so people will think like, yes, I do need a shield,
Yeah.
but if enough of us put it down, then we all collectively won't need one.
Yes. I
So
totally
it's
agree
this
with
like
that.
circle. Like it's hard to ask people to do that. I get it, because hate comments are horrible. But we win when they come down.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, and you went against the hate comments and the beauty standards. And I mean, obviously I always advocate just working day by day to break down those beauty standards and the walls of them, but it really is gonna take more people than just like me and you and
Yeah.
other mating creators. It'll really take like a lot more load of like more and more people just joining this whole kind of community of like normalization and embracing who you are. But I think we can do it with enough people. I think one day
The
everything will
shift,
just be.
the shift is coming for
It
sure.
is, yeah.
Like I'm really excited about that. Like there's like a lot of things when I think into the future that I'm like very afraid of. And I'm like, oh, bad vibes.
Yeah.
This is like the one where I'm
One,
like, no,
yeah.
this shift is coming. This is a good shift.
Yeah, the one glimmer.
Yeah, one glimmer out of the
Yeah.
whole like scary future.
Absolutely. Well,
Is
Taylor, thank you so much for coming on Loud Talk with
oh
Lavi.
no.
I enjoy our talks all the time, and
Me too. I love talking with you.
yes, like you're like just such a like breath of fresh air in this industry, and I could have you on for like 50,000 episodes because I feel like we can have so many topics to talk about. But I appreciate your time today, and I know anyone who listened in is probably like super grateful to hear about your experience as well because you have a lot of amazing things to share. Go check out Taylor on all her platforms. I'll have them
Yeah.
all listed down below. You're on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube as well, right?
I'm trying with YouTube, but yeah.
Okay, well, go subscribe to her on YouTube.
Yeah.
Let's build that up for her, and hopefully all of you are rooting that she gets on a show or a
Yes.
movie or something because we need to see more of her face like everywhere.
Oh, I hope, yeah. I promise, if I ever get invited to the Oscars one day, I'll go no makeup. Like, just get me there.
Yes, I love
We'll
that.
normalize it
Let's
for
do it.
sure.
Okay. Well, we got to make that happen. Well, thank you so much for your time, Taylor. If you are listening on Apple or Spotify, go check out the video version on YouTube. Make sure to give it a thumbs up and comment down below what you thought about this episode, as well as what you want to see in the future. And if you are listening on Apple, Spotify, or any other streaming platform, make sure to rate this podcast 5 stars, please, if you did
Yes.
enjoy. And follow along on Instagram and TikTok, Loud Talk with Lavi, for the shorts and just more daily content in regards to this podcast. But thank you so much, Taylor, for getting loud with me today. Remember to stay confident and stay loud, most of all. And I guess you guys will hear from me in the next episode of Loud Talk with Lavi. Bye, everyone.